Hi, hello everybody. Uh, Today's February 10th of 2021, and I honestly have a dream that I want to share with you. And this dream is kind of fun. I remember I was in a dark place playing like a puzzle that was kind of a video game puzzle with a little cyber truck and many objects that you need to pile up and somehow in order to get inside a cyber truck. And that was quite dark place. That was everything that I remember. And I remember that I solved the puzzle at some point. Not perfectly, but I solved it. And that was when I felt my hand. Someone kind of grabbed my hand and was like making a thumbs up. And I touched that hand and I said, wow, that's Elon Musk hand. And then like the lights went up and it was Elon Musk for real. And I said, whoa man, that's the personification of change itself. So I went kind of how a genius smell, and I went like smelling his hand, and it was very strange because the next scene I remember like a very nice security personnel between me and him, and we were talking inside a Cybertruck. And I went deep as possible about Neuralink, and we were talking, and he was such a humble person, like richest man on the planet, pretty much like anyone else. Like it was very breaking ground, like his behavior in humility, like he was hearing people and not treating differently. Like he was pretty much okay. You are a super fan. There is a security guard among us, but believe me, I hear you. And it was very fun circumstances. I remember that at some point I was talking about Neuralink, and I told him this is the deepest breakthrough in all human history. And at some point, I compare it to operational system. Bill Gates in the 80s invented the Windows, and I remember I was in Brazil. I was like 12 years old, and my mother gave me my first computer, and it was running on Windows 25, no, 95. And I remember I went to some of my colleagues' house, and he had a computer that had the 311 version of the Windows, which was primitive version. The Windows 95 was kind of more like what we have today. And I remember that was like a very different thing. Like first time I saw the MS-DOS and I saw computers, so wow, that's different. And Neuralink would be like the operational system for the human brain. That's how disruptive the thing is. If you look at Bill Gates and say, well, this guy is very important for humanity history in general because he invented the operational system that everybody could use and click on things instead of writing command lines. Well, that was disruptive, but I believe Neuralink would be far more disruptive than that. Would be a new way of thinking, would be a new way of organizing ideas, and I believe will be possible to copy a specific net of synapses of an individual and put it inside a memory, in a computer memory, and then download abilities to someone else's brain. That would be so disruptive. That would be so disruptive. That would be pretty much the end of the education system as we know it, and a far better one will be put in place. That could be the end of the criminal system, the end of jails, the end of criminal justice, the end of the penal code for good. Because I believe if people are in balance, if their brain are in balance, and if they can have access to some form of justice, they won't need police and criminal justice anymore. They would be, they won't be a victim of the tyrannic emotion system that rules humanity today, that your emotions are not balanced. I believe Neuralink has the potential to destroy completely anxiety, to literally destroy anxiety. That would be like a revolution inside a revolution, inside a revolution, inside another revolution. There would break ground approach in health, and we're gonna have a different democracy. If the enlightened citizen that votes and take everything necessary for the public good, that is a fictional character, but it won't be a fictional character anymore. It simply won't, because there will be a real enlightened individual, and that will be mainstream. Everybody will have the capacity to download abilities for free in your app, in your phone. Like if you want to be a doctor, a medicine doctor that can perform surgery, you probably would have that on the library, and you could download that, and that could fit inside your brain like 30-year plus experience of making surgeries in, I don't know, maybe weeks, maybe days, until you download it and it become functional with your muscles and with your eyes and everything that takes to a surgeon to perform surgery. That is new. That is a hell of a capability. You know, that's it's enhancing human best capacities in terms of you are going to have not schools anymore. Like schools and universities, colleges, they will be a necessity, but they will be far more like how could we interact about the knowledge we are gathering from this huge library of abilities. And that will be like a new social media, like a new social network. That will be like what I have been through, my experiences, my reading, my view of the world. I'm gonna put it in a library, and people, instead of liking things on the Instagram or Facebook, they will pretty much be looking at the experience of all the other humans and the small pieces of everyone else's heads that will be plugged in a kind of social network through Neuralink. That will be like the new operational system of the brain. It's very disruptive, and I believe pharmacology will change quite seriously. I don't know if there will be together, uh, working together with medication. But I do believe like chronic pain could be abolished at some point. I do believe psychology, I don't know if there is going to exist, because maybe the most important thing about psychology is anxiety. People go to look for a psychologist when they have a serious problem with anxiety, and that simply won't be the case anymore if you control the brain, and if you control the balance of the chemistry inside the brain. I believe many diseases would be solved just with that alone. Mental problems, health problems. One thing that I would pretty much like to ask him in person: can you get high from a Neuralink chip? Like, can you stimulate the part of the brain like someone tripping on LSD? And you could pretty much say, well, it happens with the brain this way, so you could pretty much take this pattern and repeat it on brain stimulation. Is it possible? And then, if it's possible, could you take only the 30 minutes of the best LSD trip of someone and another 10 minutes of someone else, and make a pack of this and say, well, this is the best LSD trip of combined humankind? Is this possible? I don't know, like, it's not something to be abused, definitely. If it's possible, I don't know how the app is going to work, but I believe it could be a gradual one. Like, if you are okay with yourself, you could use some applications that you need to have a requirement for such thing. Like, you couldn't like have access to free LSD all times if you are not emotionally and physically well with yourself, because that would be dangerous. But that's new. That's new for sure, and that's probably not the most interesting part of it. Like, sometimes I have another dream with Neuralink too, and it was pretty much like a room, and this was like the new movie theater, and there were like a lot of different kinds of lights and eye stimulation in this wall, and Neuralink chip with that would work as something for entertainment purpose, and people were really, I don't think addicted to it would be the right expression, like, I really believe to see this chip in a positive way, not in a like super dictatorship inside your head, or like an oppressive government controlling their citizens through a chip in the brain. I don't like to see that way. I prefer to look at and say this is a iconoclastic tool for humankind to be better, not to be like government directly in the head by an institution with no ethics, like a dictatorial government. I believe that this ship is about freedom, pretty much, freedom of expression. In the sense, you won't be limited by words. You won't be limited like Ludwig Wittgenstein once said. We are victims of language because we couldn't put the words in the right place all the time and explain exactly what we think, what we feel. I believe this ship would be able to cut this difficult way of putting words together, and we'll be able to access each other's idea in a very instantaneously and complete mode. Like, there is a limit to conscious, certainly won't be able to know everything from everyone else's head. Like, I believe there were probably a limit in the brain, so you couldn't like take every single piece of every single ability that humanity have ever evolved and put in this big library and copy it all inside your head. You won't be able to do that. Like, there is a limit for what the brain could take, and we don't know what it is yet, but certainly it's the potential is amazing. And and i and I believe Neuralink is state of the art cyberpunk technology. And I believe humanity will be in new standard with that. Like, we could live in a world with metrics for everything, and not the tyranny of the emotion. And this will be very good. I want to share this dream with you. And I'm pretty sure Elon Musk wants to share the dream with the whole humanity. By the way, if we have a Musk city, would be great, isn't it? Like a city started from the scratch to be a model to a colony in Mars, but would be done in Earth, probably in Nevada or in California, a very hot desert place, and that would be good. Like a city that was planned from the zero with super efficient. That will be definitely a new economy. Like, believe in capitalism, there is like you have to be consuming, and this is like a dictatorial thing. But if you have balance in your brain, you wouldn't be like consuming in a irrational way. I believe Elon Musk could build a city based on zero waste economy. That would be a new economy for sure, and that's what kind of is necessary for putting this bizarre flux of people through the Mexican border in the south of the United States, like building very cheaper kind of shelters that can have solar energy and recycling water in very efficient ways, and try to house everybody in a sense of this beautiful desert community. I have this, I don't know, this idea sometime, and I believe like if it's 100% self-sustainable city, like the fields producing food and the industry producing goods, it's kind of a Scott Westerfeld society, like a very advanced one in terms of technology. The citizens, they would have chips on their brains, and they would act like a small gear in this very large system that will be the city, and people would be in a symbiosis like never before. The city would be a total new city in terms of everybody knows what to do to the collective, so everybody could be comfortable, everybody could be housed, everybody could be happy. And I kind of mix the very old thing of being almost like a collector and hunter person of the very old, the beginning of humanity, like the caveman, but with a chip in your head and wearing the clothes of a tribe, and collecting and gather fruits and planting trees around as a profession, and living the world in a very open way to the open skies, to the beautiful nature of Texas, Arizona, and desert places in a way that they would be all those forests being created by people who are walking the land and they will be like the new nobles. Like that will be no longer a castle for a noble person, but a desert in a society where everybody have the minimum to survive, but also the survive. There won't be like capitalism in ways like creating those great urban areas that we call favelas here in Brazil. There will be like you would put very scientific breakthrough technology, and you're going to cross that with the ancient way that society came about, like the very beginning of anthropological culture, like the very beginning of the cities will be like small tribes, and they will be like making a big forest out of that desert, and there'll be a lot of walking and planting trees as a profession. You wouldn't be seeing that as a work, like you would be developing as a human being, like you would it will be sheep on the head, I don't know, 18 years old maybe, when the brain is complete. I don't know how the sheep could affect a brain in development. I don't know what could be done of that, if this would be, I don't know, maybe for the better brains, if they already have the sheep and they're growing, like if a 10 years old kid receive that, and you could stimulate the brain in ways that will be more complete when it's ready. I honestly don't know, but I see a brave new world ahead, really.